Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And today is Monday, Fun Day, Gun Day. And as much as I love this show, and as much as I love Monday, right? I love doing the Monday show because there's always stuff, good stuff, well, interesting stuff, we'll call it that. Interesting stuff that one could say is probably good news, well, maybe bad news, but good for news' sake, that occurs over the weekend. But unfortunately, I have yet to be able to find a good theme song, music, something for Monday. So tell you what, if you think of anything, if there's anything that you can think of right off the top of your head, do me a favor. Go ahead and drop a link to it, maybe whether it's on YouTube or maybe it's on Twitter, who knows, wherever it is. Maybe it's on Vimeo, but drop a link. Let me check it out. I would love to see it, love to hear it, and try and find something that we can use as our theme music for Mondays, because it's the only day we don't have theme music for. We've got theme music for Taco Tuesday. We've got Hump Day, which is Wednesday. We've got Throat Punch Thursday, and then we've got Thank God It's Friday. But what we don't have is we don't have something for Monday, Fun Day, Gun Day, or Gun Day, Fun Day, however, whatever order you want to put it in. It doesn't even have to be Fun Day, Gun Day. It could just be Monday, but it's going to be some cool music. So if you can think of anything, if you got any ideas, go ahead and drop it in the comment section, and we will take some time and check it out. And hopefully we'll be able to celebrate Monday just like we do the other days of the week. Unfortunately, it's just once again, it's going to be us today. It's going to be me. It's going to be you. It's going to be us in the comments. So if you're watching us live at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, on Facebook, on Rumble, or on OpsLens, do us a favor. Go ahead and drop us a comment in the comment section. Let us know what's up. Let us know what you think. I will be monitoring the comments, and we'll be able to share your comments with the other viewers. So go ahead and give us a comment if you are so inclined. And I know I'm going to say something that's going to interest you, right? Right. I'm sure that I will. So in order to do that, why don't we go ahead and get started with the show? But before we do, you know what we got to do. Got to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start with Hitman Industries, the place to go to find rifle and pistol caliber barrels. You will find that if you own an AR, if you recently purchased an AR, chances are you already have one of their barrels. And if you do, I promise you love it. We'll get more. If you're looking to either rebarrel a current rifle, maybe one that doesn't have one of their barrels, or if you're looking to do a brand new build, go to hitmanindustries.net. If you are a first responder and you've never purchased from them before, you will get a discount. So check them out today, Hitman Industries. Then we've got the California Republican Assembly, referred to by the late President Ronald Reagan as the conscience of the Republican Party, working to help elect conservatives at all levels, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. You can find them at cragop.org. That's cragop.org. If you want to be a part of California's future today, got to join CRA. And then we've got Hog Holsters, the destination, the place to go. If you're looking for concealed carry, you're looking for tactical holsters inside the waistband, outside the waistband, trust me, they have it. Just go to hogholsters.com. Make sure you use the discount code The Rundown right up there, all caps, no spaces, one word, and get a discounted holster today. And then finally, the place to get all things tactical. I mean, they have it all except for the gun. It's uscombatgear.com. They've got indoor gear. They've got outdoor gear. They've got cold weather, warm weather, wet weather, dry weather. You name it, they have it. Veteran-owned and operated. Fantastic selection. Fast shipping. Check them out today. uscombatgear.com. All right, now that we have paid the bills, let's go ahead and get into the conversation, shall we? And we're going to start off with Biden's new border shutdown executive order. That's right. President Joe Biden has finally declared that he is going to shut down the border. That when we get too many of those pesky, undocumented folks coming to the southern border, well, we're going to shut them down. We're going to make sure that they are not able to enter into our country illegally. Or are they going to be able to enter into our country illegally? Well, sad enough to say that no, not going to work. Anyway, so this being reported by Fox News, where they're saying that Too little, too late. Why Biden's border plan doesn't impress critics. It says here, President Biden is expected to announce executive actions related to the ongoing crisis at the southern border by Tuesday, as the issue threatens to become a major issue in the 2024 presidential race, with Republicans saying too little, too late. Biden administration and border officials confirmed to Fox News that executive actions are expected to be announced by Tuesday before President Biden departs for Normandy. Details of what will be announced remain unclear. Some outlets reported that it could involve a mechanism to prevent additional migrants entering into the U.S. once there is a rolling 7-day average of more than 4,000 apprehensions a day. The mechanism would likely be similar to one produced in a sweeping bipartisan Senate bill that was unveiled earlier this year and was backed by the Biden administration, but has so far failed to drum up enough support to pass the upper chamber. In that bill, a Title 42 style expulsion authority would allow agents to quickly remove migrants across the border. Biden could attempt to implement an authority by executive order by using 2112F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which allows presidents to limit entry of foreign nationals into the U.S. Former President Trump used 212F multiple times during his presidency, but was unsuccessful in using it to restrict border crossings, with a legal challenge scuppering the effort. Any similar move by President Biden would almost certainly face a similar challenge. There are no plans. Well, anyway, basically what's happening here is that what he's going to be doing is, first and foremost, he's going to claim to be doing the stuff that Donald Trump did. In other words, he's going to claim that after, for example, a certain number of migrants. So I think the number that I've heard was 2,500. So once you've had 2,500 illegal people apply for amnesty in a particular day, they would then not allow anyone else in that day to go to request amnesty. Now, let's be clear. So if you're looking at, for example, 2,500, so you're looking at every day of the month. So in a 30-day month, you're looking at somewhere around, what would that be? 20, 40, 60? Somewhere around 60,000 people would be able to apply a day. 60,000 people would be able, illegal immigrants, not a day, I'm sorry, a month, would still be able to enter into the United States. Now, that's significantly less than are currently coming in, because right now we're getting about 200,000 per month. But once again, that's not just including people who get caught. The reality is that what this is they're looking to use this as an election issue, not by fixing it, but by claiming to offer a fix. And when Republicans say, no, this is not enough, or they say that, no, what you're doing isn't enough, it's not making a big enough difference, then they say, well, see, Republicans are standing in the way. And so what he's trying to do with these executive orders is to pretend to secure the border. But he's still not offering clear language in terms of requiring people to actually fall in line with what the definition of an amnesty request is supposed to be, because he doesn't really want people applying for amnesty. Well, let me clarify. He wants them to apply for amnesty. He just doesn't want to have to reject them because they don't fit the criteria of what amnesty is supposed to be. Amnesty is not just because, well, I don't like it where I'm living. It's I am in physical danger, or my family is in physical danger, actual danger if I remain, or if I go back to, or I'm in danger if I go back to the country from whence I came. That's what amnesty is. I mean, that's what's supposed to trigger amnesty, not, well, I can't get a job there. But what he's got people doing now is he's got everybody applying for amnesty. And when he talks about, for example, funding, when he's trying to negotiate funding, he's not looking for border security. We've talked about this before. He wants people who can process those people who are applying for amnesty so that he can release them into the United States. See, because that's what happens. What happens is they're saying, well, if you're applying for amnesty, well, then you just get to walk right into the United States of America. That's their goal. I mean, that's what they're trying to accomplish with this. I cannot even begin to tell you how, once again, how bad an idea so much of what it is that they are proposing here is. Let's just go ahead and let me read to you a little bit about what congressional Republicans have to say about what Biden is doing here. It says, quote, while congressional Republicans choose to stand in the way of additional border enforcement, this is once again what they're saying at the White House, President Biden will not stop fighting to deliver the resources that border and immigration personnel need to secure our border. He's not interested in securing the border. When you basically open the border and just let people in, that doesn't mean it's a secure border. Just try it with your front door. Go out there and invite all the bums and junkies in, all the bums and junkies in, invite them all in, and then say, well, because I'm here monitoring the door, tell them, you can tell them all you want when they can't come in, but when they come walking in, then don't tell me that your front door is secure. Anyway, it says here, Republicans have blamed the policies of the administration, including the rollback of Trump-era policies such as wall construction, which they did roll back, the migrant protection protocols, which they did roll back, and increased interior enforcement, which he did roll back. They have passed their own legislation in the House that would significantly limit asylum claims and restart border wall construction and similar measures. It has not yet been taken up by the Senate. So in other words, House Republicans have passed legislation, and the Senate will not even take up the legislation. And mind you, they really don't even need to do all this. All they have to do, really, to be frank with you, is just go back to doing what Donald Trump was doing. That's all they have to do. But they refuse to do it. And, and that's why Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is basically saying, it's too little too late. A quote from him, he says, now he's trying to desperately show the American people somehow that he wants to address the issue that he himself created. We documented 64 specific executive actions President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas of DHS took over the course of the last 3.5 years, beginning on the first day that President Biden took office to open the border. Why? They did it intentionally, and it has had catastrophic effects upon our country, and we'll be living with for decades, he said. And that's just all true. So we know that he changed the policies, and it had an impact. It had more people coming into the country. And what I find funny is try and talk to liberals about this, and they say, well, Trump couldn't have stopped this. Well, no, Trump did. Trump had things in place. There were things in place that were keeping people from coming to the border. But what happened was he came in on day one, he rolled out the red carpet, and the people started to come. And they a bunch of them made T-shirts, and here they come. Look, if you cannot invite someone and then shut the door in their face and expect that they're not just going to continue to come in. I'm sorry, and then but at the same time still beckoning them to come. You just can't do that and have us believe that you are and make a credible, that's what I'm looking for, and make a credible inference that you support the idea of securing the border. You do not support the idea of securing the border, President Biden. You want our border wide open, and that is kind of an obvious thing to notice. All right, moving on to our next story. So, as I told you on Friday, I took a shooting class over the weekend. And it was funny because early in the day, we got a quote unquote an extreme heat warning, or extreme weather warning. Basically, telling us, well, it's going to be exceptionally hot. You better beware. Better beware. It's going to be exceptionally hot. Better make sure you cool yourself down. Except I think it got up to like 87 degrees. Now, I've lived in California all my life, and nowhere in California, except for maybe when you get into some of the higher elevations in the Sierras, would 87 degrees ever be characterized as hot. If it happened in like February, okay. But even then, extreme weather? Mm-mm. Well, my good friend Katie Grimes over at the California Globe actually has a piece talking about this. And since I was talking about it with my instructor and some of the other folks in the class over the weekend, I figured why not talk about it with you guys too. And it says here, climate change agenda, media hyping extreme heat warning when California temps are not extreme. Here, I love her. She says here, shelter in place coming so you don't die from the heat. For a week now, most news outlets have issued dire warnings that California will be under extreme heat wave this coming week. Well, like I said, they issued the warning over the weekend. Fox News reported breathlessly Sunday evening that temperatures in California will reach as high as 120 degrees this week without identifying where. In recent years, media weather reporters overstate the heat, over-exaggerating extreme heat as much hotter than the actual forecast, and when they are wrong, they never correct or admit it. My weather apps have been adjusting down all week since claiming Sacramento temperatures would hit 106 by Wednesday. Here's today's, and as you see here, so 105, the highest I saw that it was going to be. And last week it was saying was going to be 105, but these are the 2 days that it's supposed to be over 100, Tuesday and Wednesday, which, by the way, Sacramento actually is not, even at 100 degrees, unless you're outside working directly in it, is not exceptionally bad. I always say once it gets about 105 is when you're really, really talking heat. But the point here, I think, like what she makes is, okay, in Sacramento, in the summer, it gets hot. I know this is a shock to those of you who have lived here all your lives because you've never experienced hot weather in Sacramento. It just doesn't happen. Do I sound sarcastic enough? Do I? Because I had the same exact conversation every winter, every like November, December, when it rains. Because in November, December, water starts to fall from the sky. I know, right? Who is ever expecting water to fall from the sky and land on the roads while we're driving? But the media reports it, once again, as Katie Grimes says, breathlessly, as if it has never happened before. Well, folks, it's all about the issue of climate change. What's funny about it is, this is what really gets me, is that if you look at the statistics, number one, we're actually having fewer significant weather events in terms of rain. It's not raining exceptionally more. In fact, California just got out of a drought, right? We're not seeing exceptionally long droughts. And I always find it funny when they say, well, it hasn't been this hot in X number of years, like 50, 60 years, or 70 years. I was the one say 70 years. Okay, so 70 years ago, what caused it to be hot? I mean, if it's global warming now caused by stuff we're putting in the air now, or over the last 50 years, What caused it 70 years ago? What caused the extreme heat wave 70 years ago? What sort of global warming event, what man-caused thing were they doing before the industrial age that caused it then? They can never tell you. That's also the reason why we went from global cooling to global warming to climate change. Because see, now with climate change, all they have to do is say, "Oh, scary weather," and pass laws. It's kind of funny. You probably have seen the meme where it says, it's kind of funny how global cooling, we instituted a tax. Global warming, we instituted a tax. Climate change, we instituted a tax, and somehow the tax are supposed to solve the problem, but they seem to, cause more weather problems? I don't know. But we seem to answer it all with a tax, with somehow restricting the rights of people to earn a living and taxing people. And that's supposed to solve the problem of global climate change. Oh, I almost forgot. And handing over our sovereignty to foreign nations. Let us not forget that one. It is kind of mandatory that in order to fix what is going on with our climate, we must surrender our liberties, our rights to Muslim Marxists. I don't know, the people who run the people who run the UN. Because Lord knows, even though we pay for the UN, we don't run it. Anyway, I'm sorry, but that was one that got me. So, and by the way, folks, and this goes back to the whole conversation we've had before about this is all about declaring everything a health emergency. There is a reason why they talk about mental health. I love this one. The Defense Department sends Pride graphic for PTSD month. Okay, this is being reported. I'm going to read the story for you so I don't mess this one up. This is being reported out of Breitbart. It says woke Defense Department, and yes, they are woke, mistakenly posts LGBT Pride graphic for PTSD Awareness Month. As the story reads, the month of June has been designated as PTSD Awareness Month by the federal government since 2014, a year before it also became recognized as Pride Month, Fox News reported. Quote, June is PTSD Awareness Month, and the DoD is committed to supporting service members and veterans affected by PTSD, the department wrote on X. If you or someone you know is struggling, help is available. You're not alone, the post's caption said. Instead of posting a graphic in support of veterans who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, the DoD posted an image of the progressive pride flag along with the phrase, Celebrate Pride Month 2024, and its 6.5 million, or so I've set it to its 6.5 million followers. The post was later deleted and replaced upon recognizing the mistake, but it was too late. So anyway, this was what was supposed. This is I guess this is what was supposed to go out. Where is the thing? And this is what was actually. This was actually what was sent out. I get it. That stuff happens, but it's almost like a bit of a Freudian slip, isn't it? It's like, someone mistakenly, and I'm sure it was not their intent, wanted to note that, there are some things that are mental disorders, or at least some things that used to be claimed or declared as mental disorders, psychological disorders, that are no longer considered psychological disorders. And just maybe the Freudian slip says we just wanted to remind you. And that's right. By the way, just so you know, gender dysphoria is still classified as an issue of the mind, not a physical, not a body issue. But it is a mental issue that we do, that the for the most part they have been recommending, or the diagnoses, the cures supposedly have been to alter one's physical body, which I don't understand. If someone said that they were, for example, if they had what's the body dysmorphia, right? Maybe they believed that they were morbidly obese, even though they were really thin. We wouldn't tell them, yeah, you are morbidly obese. We need to put you on a diet. We need to reduce how much food you're intaking. No, we would help them to understand and recognize that they are not morbidly obese, that they are healthy, and help to figure out what is triggering those feelings, right? If someone felt like they were supposed to not have an arm, or they're supposed to be blind, or not deaf, we wouldn't poke their eyes out or, cut their ears off. We would help them to understand what they are. And I don't understand why we can't continue to do that, but for some reason, here in these United States, we can't. And now we're at least seeing more and more studies as seven countries in the UK have now said, we're not doing this to children anymore because we don't know. One, we can't find any evidence that it's helping. And number two, we also can't find any evidence that it's not hurting. In fact, we're finding evidence that it is in fact hurting. So now they're not doing it as a way to solve the problem anymore, but to a certain degree they are still using it. They are still researching it, shall we say. And it's kind of dangerous to do that sort of research on kids, but at least they're acknowledging that a bunch of the quote-unquote solutions that are being offered for young people are not solutions at all and are actually causing problems, and they're going out of their way to at least try and protect those kids and realizing, hey, when you're an adult, you have an ability to inform yourself, and if you want to make the medical decisions and go get your, I'm not going to call it that, a gender affirming, yeah, but anyway, and you want to go and get, and you want gender sex trait modification, medication or surgery, you decide you want to do that, then you go do that. Once again, making sure that you've been provided with all of the information, not just a little bit. Okay, and finally, if you are a follower of the Second Amendment, you know who Steve Dettelbeck is. He is the activist anti-gunner who is now the director of ATF, an activist, not an administrator, not someone who's coming in order to figure out how to help us safely facilitate our right to keep and bear arms. No, this is a guy who's coming in who wants to grab your gun. To be clear, he's a gun grabber. He is a 100% gun grabber. Well, he was questioned recently by Mr. Thomas Massey, and let's just say that he had some very, very interesting to say. In other words, what he wanted to do. Well, you know what? No, I will go. I'll talk to you about it afterwards. I'll play the video, and you tell me what you think, Mr. Dettelbeck. He's stepping all over his Dettelbeck. You tell me what you think about what it is he's trying to say here.
In my last remaining seconds, I want to show you a video of something that you said on 60 Minutes.
And we depend on firearms dealers, many of whom are our first line of defense, who will pick up the phone and help us and try to interdict this. And for those who aren't doing that, I hope and expect that as Americans, we will all do that. But those who aren't, if somebody comes into your store in a border state and plunks down $12,000 cash money for one of these things, so that there's no credit card trail, my word, we hope that people will help us as Americans and continue to help us and not make that sale.
Okay, are you aware that it's illegal for you to create a registry of gun owners in the United States?
I am.
And are you insinuating here that somebody can't buy a firearm with cash?
No.
So why should a dealer call you if somebody's going through a background check and tell you that somebody is using cash?
We run a program called Don't Lie for the Other Guy, along with the National Shooting Sports Foundation. And there are indicia of straw purchasing matters where there are warning signs where people can contact us. And firearms dealers who are law-abiding business owners, and the majority are, I want to say that again here, they frequently contact us, especially on the southwest border, because cartels are using straw purchases to arm themselves with the kind of weaponry that results in death and destruction and the danger to Americans and law enforcement.
We're concerned because banks are keeping these records and giving them to the government without a legal process, and I yield back.
All right, now over at MLN, they're saying here Representative Massey was referencing an interview that Mr. Dettelbeck did with CBS's 60 Minutes. It was the same interview where the ATF's firearms expert could not disassemble or assemble a Glock pistol. In the interview, Dettelbeck pointed out that someone could buy a Barrett 50 cal in cash. He said that FFLs should report cash purchases to the ATF. Many in the gun community took issue with this statement because it is not illegal to buy firearms with cash, and in many cases, gun owners prefer to use cash, especially since programs such as Operation Choke Point exist. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Operation Choke Point, Operation Choke Point was an operation launched by the government to crack down on banks that dealt with firearms industry by classifying such businesses as high risk. The firearms industry concluded that government was using its power to infringe on the rights of Americans because the rate of fraud in the firearms world is lower than the national average. The chances of someone committing fraud after handing over legal documentation and going through a background check are low. So in other words, what he was asking here was, once again, for people to report to the government when you bought, for example, when someone comes in and buys guns, or if they spend a lot of money buying firearms with cash. And in this case, he was talking about a 50 cal. And we've talked about this a dozen times on this show. There has never, other than possession, other than a person who's not supposed to legally possess a firearm, possessing one, there has never been a crime in the United States committed with a 50 caliber rifle. Never, ever. But because it's a big, scary black gun, they don't want you to own it. Dettelbeck wants to say, look, this is what they're buying. No, what he really doesn't want them to do is to be able to come in and buy, for example, a collection of firearms. If you have a collection of 1911s or something like that, they don't want you to be able to do that. They don't want you to be able to buy that. Or they want to know who's buying these guns. I'm sorry, but if you want to have, for example, a background check system, and this is, once again, this is just me, that is like, okay, all the person has to do is the person at the desk wants to check and see, is this person prohibited from owning or possessing a firearm? No, they are not. Okay, sell them the gun. You don't need to keep my information. You don't need to record what I bought. You don't need to record when I bought it. All you need to know is I'm eligible, and that's all you need to know. Now, that's a background check system. That's one that's actually a constitutional background check system. But what Massey here is pointing to is that Dettelbeck is looking for a way. In other words, he wants to know who's buying these things. Well, guess what that's called? It's called a registry. He wants you to register your firearms. He wants to know what guns you own. And I'm sorry, but that's just pathetic. That is just... The fact that you have someone who is a known gun grabber who now wants to be able to create a list and know who is owning quote-unquote controversial firearms in his eyes, nah, that's not what we want. That's not the sort of person we want running our ATF. That's not the sort of person we want running our government. I'm just saying, not running someone that's supposed to be an administrative office. This is not supposed to be a political office. Their job is to make sure that people are able to legally, safely, and constitutionally purchase firearms. In other words, exercise their constitutional right to keep and bear arms. And he has no right, I say no right, to try and do what he's trying to do, which is, in essence, confiscate people's firearms. Anyway, folks, that now brings us... Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster today. Everybody's still talking about the conviction of Donald Trump. I like to say that, however you feel about Donald Trump, at least now you can say he's got some convictions, or at least a conviction. Anyway, very, very funny, very, very funny. Okay. Well, that conviction actually led to, I think it was something like in the first 24 hours, he raised $54 million in campaign funds. In the first 48, he raised like $78 million in campaign funds. And as a result of that, once again, this being reported by the Babylon Bee, can you say satire? Satire. Babylon Bee, satire, fake news that you can count on. After seeing how much money Donald Trump raised, Biden called up DA Bragg to ask if he can get charged with a felony or two. Yeah, clearly must have helped. Anyway, and then so he figured once charging him, he said, you know what? No problem. Also being reported by the Babylon Bee, New York prosecutor says nobody in America is above the law he made up to convict them. And that's kind of a dig at the fact that he basically created a legal theory, and with the cooperation of the judge, charged someone with 34 misdemeanors that, by the way, were beyond the statute of limitations, had them upgraded to a felony without ever telling the jury what the felony was. Yeah. He did that. He got away with that. I mean, by the way, in an effort to convict a former president and the leading candidate for president of the United States who's from the opposition party. I mean, it was so crazy. What he did was so outrageous. Banana republics are starting to feel kind of bad for the United States. That's right. Banana republics are starting to feel bad for the United States. And that is the world, folks, that we have created here in the United States. But wait, there's more. Excuse me there. So this guy right here, his name is Sheriff Chad Bianco. He is a Democrat sheriff in Riverside County. And he had some interesting things to say about the governor of California, about the California legislature, and about Donald Trump. And I just wanted you to hear this for yourself, and I'll give you my commentary afterwards.
Hello, California. It's Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. You know, for the past 30 years, I've been doing everything I could to keep our community safe by arresting criminals and putting them in jail and putting them in prison, keeping them out of our neighborhoods. For the last 5 years, I've been very critical about our governor for slashing our budgets from corrections, for letting prisoners out early, for closing our prisons. I've been critical of our state legislature for passing laws to make it harder to put people in prison. I've been critical for their changing laws that let prisoners out early. And I've been critical for our Attorney General for seemingly not caring about crime and really being an embarrassment to law enforcement. And this love affair that our governor and our state legislature have with criminals is based on the belief that criminals are not responsible for their own actions. They're a victim of society. And really, it's our fault. It's society's fault. It's business's fault. It's cops' fault. It might be my fault. Law enforcement, apparently, if you listen to our governor, is systemically racist. If you listen to our legislature, our laws are systemically racist. Our judicial system is systemically racist. All of these people that are being put in jail are because of law enforcement bias and DA bias and all of these things. And so they let them out. They give them food. They give them housing. They give them money. They give them drugs and alcohol now. And I got to be honest, I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired. And I'm wondering if I'm having a change of heart and deciding that, you know what, maybe I've been wrong. And I think I'm going to change teams. I know it's going to make some of you angry. I know that you're going to be mad at me, but I'm going to change teams. I think they're onto something, but I don't think they're doing enough. I think that we need to go big. You know me, go big or go home. You're the biggest, you do the best, you're the best at everything, and you might as well do something right if you're going to do it. And I'm all in. And I hope that you're all with me. I hope that you all have this change of heart. You all feel that this is definitely the right thing to do, and you come alongside me in this venture. And I think it's time that instead of letting them out of jail and giving them alcohol and drugs and everything else, I think it's time we put a felon in the White House. Trump 2024, baby. Let's save this country and make America great again.
Folks, I got to tell you, and you know, I look at what he's been doing down there in Riverside County, and even the sheriff here in Sacramento County, not former Democrat, a Democrat, Jim Cooper, and what he's been doing as sheriff. And I got to tell you, giving me hope again for the two-party system. The Democrats, in particular California Democrats, are not completely lost. Folks, if you are a Democrat and you are watching this program, listen to this guy. Here's the thing. It's not that, I'll tell you right now, it's not that he is in love with Donald Trump. He just recognizes that the chaos that the Democratic Party has reaped upon the state of California, they have wrecked our state, and it's heading downhill, and it's heading downhill fast. He's recognizing that if the same sort of woke agenda, the same sort of lawlessness is allowed to continue in Washington, D.C., the rest of the United States may soon be following the state of California. And he's interested in putting a stop to it. So, once again, there are probably a lot of things that as a Democrat that Sheriff Bianco and Sheriff Cooper and I disagree on, just like with other folks, but the other Democrats. But the reality is, they also recognize that the current Democratic establishment is not representing us. It's not representing our values, any of our values. And their goal, they have given themselves over to the neo-Marxists who are interested in tearing the system down, and they are basically allowing them to do so. The only people who are being hurt are the people. The weakest in our society are the ones who are suffering the gravest of consequences. And it's time to put a stop to it. So I thought y'all would want to hear that. A Democrats speaking truth to power. Sheriff Bianco, good job. Good job to you. Anyway, well, that's going to be about it for today's program. But before we go, let's give one more quick shout out to our sponsors. You got Hitman Industries. You'll find them at hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly. If you want to be part of California's future today, join CRA. Remember to go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster today on discount. And then finally, if you're looking for something tactical, you'll find all things tactical but the gun at uscombatgear.com. And with that, Monday is behind us. Tuesday is ahead of us. We're going to have a good time tonight, and we will be back tomorrow. Till then, y'all stay safe. Send a few downrange and turn one up for me. Holler at you later.